Shalom, Barakatah Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashim Bakakadash. All praises and glories definitely do, especially in the times we're living in. Much respects to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and to all the brothers out there doing the work, and sisters. I say Shalom. All right, this article and video by Lisa Cabrera came to my attention last night. So I said, you know what, I'll do a lesson on it this morning. I didn't get to it this morning, but I'm getting to it now. Anyway, this is from Fox News. Candace Owens, all right. New York Times suggests blacks and Hispanics can't think for themselves, all right. And that's a quote from Miss Candace Owens. All right. Newspaper claim misinformation and conspiracy theories to blame for GOP support among Hispanic men. All right. So I'm going to read this article. It's not that long. Take you to the video clip by Lisa Cabrera, and then I'll take you to some scriptures, and that'll be it. All right. Candace Owens, New York Times, thinks blacks and Hispanics can't think for themselves. All right. Author and commentator Candace Owens not. The New York Times doing an appearance on Tucker Carlson tonight, Monday, after the paper published a report implying that misinformation and conspiracy theories are not to blame for the growing support for the Republican Party among Hispanic men. The article headline, "A Vexing Question for Democrats That Drives Latino Men to Republican," argues that Hispanic men have been increasingly embracing the GOP due to misinformation, including conspiracy theories claiming that the deep state took over during the Trump administration. And, you know, this woman is a Looney Tune, all right? She's out there, all right? And again, you know, Lisa Cabrera will cover most of that, you know. But again, this woman here is like, in reality, she's a chocolate Edomite, all right? That's what she is, man, all right? And I'm talking about her spirit, all right? So, and a belief that Black Lives Matter protests caused widespread violence, okay? Owens, can I just take a moment to thank our lucky stars that we have the New York Times available to think for Hispanic people and think for Black Americans. Well, I suppose, you know, Miss Owens here is not up to date. I guess she doesn't realize that the, you know, media itself is the, you know, mouth of the beast, the propaganda machine, you know, that, you know, again, deceives and slanders, okay? All right, falsely accuses, all right? Okay, I guess she doesn't know that. I guess she doesn't know that, you know, the television sets are all about programming as well, right? TV programming, right? And they program you through television, through their movies. What about their churches? Okay, it's all programming. Okay? Government, meaning mind. All right? Govern, control, mind control. All right? Their education system is nothing more than, you know, indoctrination into Edomite supremacy. So what the hell is this woman talking about? This woman truly suffers from Stockholm syndrome, all right? Which is completely covered throughout the scriptures, man. All right, and we'll get to that. All right. I mean, God forbid we have these Hispanic men and women walking around trying to think for themselves. Fortunately, we have the Platonic articles that look at them and say, let me explain to you what happened. I like this kind of writing because this is the reason that Hispanics are fleeing the Democratic Party, because they are tired of this. They are tired. See, what they're tired of is being lied to. Okay? All right? You know, the deceptions and lies. All right? The strongholds. Okay? And again, our weapons of warfare are not carnal, but mighty through our God power, right? To the bringing down of strongholds. Again, we read that 2 Corinthians 10:4. All right? All right. Let's see here. Well, you know what? I'm not going to continue reading. All right, let's go to the video. All right. And then we'll get to some scripture. Let's do that. Give me a minute. You guys can read this article on your own, okay? All right, I'm not going to continue the rest. We're going to go to the video. All right, give me a minute.
Is an author and commentator and a smart person. She joins us tonight. So why can't Hispanic men just accept that it was QAnon that totaled Minneapolis? Like, it's not hard, just believe. Can I just take a moment to just thank our lucky stars that we have the New York Times available to think for Hispanic people and to think for Black Americans and to do the thinking, because, I mean, God forbid we have these Hispanic men and women walking around trying to think for themselves. Fortunately, we have these pedantic articles that look at them and say, let me explain to you what happened. And by the way, Tucker, don't you dare believe your lying eyes. I know all summer we saw churches being burned to the ground in Washington, D.C. We saw Target being rioted, looted, cars smashing into retail shops, taking things. We saw Richard Brooks attack a police officer, and in response, they burned a Wendy's to the ground in Atlanta. Remember that story? We saw this all summer for weeks on end and respond to George Floyd protests. And they're assuming, I guess we're supposed to pretend it never happened, Tucker. That it never happened. And this is just a big, nasty, QAnon conservative conspiracy theory that Hispanic men are falling for because they're not smart enough, Tucker, to think for themselves. That is so insightful. It actually hadn't even occurred to me just how patronizing, when you lie that obviously and expect people to believe you, what you're really saying is, I think you're stupid. Yeah, and this is what we talk about all the time, you know, me and the Blexit Foundation. It's just a bigotry of low expectations. People don't even realize their implicit biases. They don't even realize what they're saying when we write these things, when they say, well, Black people just don't understand. Hispanic men just don't understand. So listen to me, a latte-sipping reporter in New York who's going to explain to you what is reality, even though it is the exact opposite of the reality that they are attempting to portray in their worlds. It is insulting. And by the way, I like this kind of writing, Tucker, because this is the reason that Hispanics are fleeing the Democrat Party, because they are tired of this. They're tired of being treated like toddlers who can't think for themselves, and they're most especially tired of being flat out lied to in the way that this writer has lied to America about what actually took place in this, not just this country, but in other countries all summer because of the George Floyd riots. I'm assuming a lot of these voters, at least the ones we've been talking about, are mostly lower income, some of the lowest income people in the country, actually. I'm assuming they're not like daily New York Times readers. They have come to these conclusions just by watching. As you said, don't believe your lying eyes.
This woman has no clue of the Edomite beast system, okay? She has no clue about the EU, NATO, America, Babylon the Great. She has no clue about it. You know, she's looking at it, looking at the two horns, Republicans, Democrats, doing the Roman Empire. There were the patricians in the Philippines, all right? And it's the same thing. She doesn't understand that this is, you know, the last leg and extension of the revived Roman Empire, all right? She has no idea of prophecy, all right? None whatsoever. All right? Anyway, I'm going to jump to something here. All right? Give me a minute. All right?
So you heard that, right? So she recently went on the New York Times to say that blacks and Hispanics can't think for themselves. And Candace is really the last person to be talking about not thinking for herself. What she's doing is just thinking like a white supremacist. How is she thinking for herself? She's not. Okay? She's not. She's thinking like a white supremacist. And this is the reason why they like to put Candace in front of everybody. Because it's a black face saying the same thing that a white supremacist would say. But y'all never let Candace off the hook. When she posted a picture of her newborn, the white supremacists, the very people that she think like, attacked her baby out on Twitter. You could probably still go out and find the tweets. They insulted her baby for being biracial. Candace said absolutely nothing. Now, we know damn well if it was a group of black people that said something about her baby, she would have been all over it. We know it. She said nothing. The only thing she did was take the picture down. But she didn't fight them. She didn't tell them to leave her baby alone. She said nothing. So when she comes out with the insults, we got to be ready to push back hard and let them be reminding her constantly of what was said about her baby, and she did nothing to defend her baby. Nothing. So somebody like that does not get to say anything about us not thinking for ourselves. The way I see it, if we weren't thinking for ourselves, we would be out in huge numbers getting the shot. After all, haven't they been pushing the propaganda towards the black community since December when they came out with the shot? And we're still not biting. So obviously we're thinking for ourselves. And ever since they keep claiming we are disproportionate, haven't we been demanding the raw numbers? Show us the numbers.
Okay, so this is an extremely high-tech